Yes!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Completionist. You know, there's several franchises that I tend to overlook and write them off as a, oh, I'll just get around to them when I can kind of deal. And surprisingly enough, one of Nintendo's most successful franchises is one that I've always kind of just shrugged at. Prior to this game, I've only played one Kirby game, both for the show and in my personal life. And it just so happens that this week, this game was sent to us by Doug Grosser, a fan from home. So Doug, thank you so much for your support. Your letter was fantastic. It meant a lot to me. It really brightened my day. So I dedicate this episode to you, brother. With that in mind, let's take a look at Kirby Superstar. HAL Laboratories, essentially the brainchild company of now legendary developer Masahiro Sakurai, has been helming the Kirby series since its inception. Working closely with Nintendo, Sakurai launched this little puff cute character into the hearts of many. Most of Kirby's successful games were primarily developed on portable consoles, but there's one particular game that not only came out on the Super Nintendo, but it came out very late on the console's life cycle. Kirby Superstar was one of the last first-party published games on the Super Nintendo, and even more fascinating, it's a multitude of games for the price of one. Kirby's Kirby. How do you not know Kirby? He's this pink puff character that can float into the sky like a balloon. He has the ability to suck things in and swallow them, spit things out to damage enemies, all while maintaining his cute posterity and appearance. I'd like to think that in the 90s, however, everyone thought he looked like this.
All Kirby's got is apathy.
Oh my god! Kirby just ate that guy! I know he eats things, but dear god, that is terrifying. Kirby Superstar isn't just one story, but rather, each game is more like its own self-contained vignette. That sounds weird, I know, but hear me out. Superstar contains 8 different games packed in that feature their own plots, so it's hard to focus in on just one plot and call it the most canon. It's kind of a conundrum. For instance, in Spring Breeze, the game plays essentially as an abridged version of the Game Boy game Kirby's Dream Land. If you need a refresher, the villain, King DDD, steals food from all the residents of Dreamland, leaving Dreamland in this chaotic state of violence until a lone hero rises against the king. It's pretty much the plot of Hunger Games. Not really. At first, playing this was very disconcerting for me. Imagine that the first Kirby game for me to play since Kirby's Dream Land happens to be another colorful version of Kirby's Dream Land. The game Dynablade features a robotic bird that's giving me Storm Eagle flashbacks from Mega Man X. Storm Eagle here is terrorizing Dreamland by eating all of its crops. The revenge of Meta Knight stars Meta Knight and his thirst for world domination with his ship the Halberd. Riding his star, Kirby must invade the ship in order to stop Meta Knight's evil plight. The Great Cave Offensive doesn't have a plot. It really just serves as an inspiration for the Disney film National Treasure, though.
Gotta follow the clues, finding pieces of treasure through these endless caves and corridors. Probably shouldn't have eaten that fire guy, gonna give me indigestion. I'm gonna spawn him into a helper, one of our founding fathers.
And our last game mode, Milky Way Wishes, focuses on a fight between the sun and the moon. A being named Marx informs Kirby that he must collect the 7 stars in order to restore the giant wish-granting comet called Nova, so that Kirby can wish for peace in the galaxy. I think at its core, we can establish that Kirby Superstar, let alone the lore of Kirby, is centralized around food. Almost every plotline involves food or the conquering of Dreamland, which in turn means you've conquered all the crops and livestock of the world. There's even a game that focuses on you racing against King DDD while eating as much food as you can on the way to the finish line. I think it's safe to say the world of Dreamland has a consumption problem. With this game being released towards the end of the Super Nintendo's life cycle, Superstar sports some of the most refined, detailed, and vibrant sprites on the console, and up to this point, it set the benchmark as the best-looking Kirby game. Yet, this is where we start to see the early beginnings of Sakurai's pride seep through his work, as a lot of the visual and audio assets ended up becoming traditional staples that we'll end up knowing and loving more in the Super Smash Bros. Series. And what I mean by that is, look. And look here. Even the waiting room, both in concept and execution. I know that Hal and Sakurai have been leading the production on Smash Bros. For years, but I thought the game was supposed to be the celebration of all things Nintendo, rather than the celebration of Kirby with a bunch of Nintendo guest star friends. It's pretty clear how many Kirby games over the years have been heavily influencing the Smash series. I think Sakurai could have dug a bit deeper than just borrowing from the games that he produced. But hey, stick to what you know, right? Seriously, I love Smash Bros. I'm so sorry, Sakurai. Well, the Game Boy fanatic in me wishes I knew this game existed a bit sooner. Kirby's Dream Land is one of my favorite Game Boy games, and it's so awesome to see what essentially came to be an HD version of that game. The music is obviously much better, the color and detail in things like King Dedede and the Wispy Woods are heartwarming. Thanks to really engaging sprite animations, getting power-ups and using them made you feel as powerful as a
Martin Luther King Jr. speech.
What?
That's like the most powerful thing I could think of. His speeches give me goosebumps.
Right, but one, we weren't alive when those speeches happened, and two, we're talking about a Kirby game.
I know, but it's like the most powerful thing I think of. He's a very gifted orator. It's good to say a good thing about a great man.
I agree with you, but the internet's gonna take this way out of context and not understand where you and I are coming from, Zan.
Would you not even see Selma?
Did you see Selma?
No, but I plan to. Do you?
Look, I don't think this is the time and place to be
I have a
discussing
dreamland!
As powerful as a really, really powerful thing. But these slick animations are integral to making Kirby's various power-up forms feel as powerful as they look. It also helps that I've never played a game where I've made so many enemies cry because of my attacks. My first outing with Kirby on the Super Nintendo sees the return of all the hallmarks established in his original adventure on the Game Boy, and it expands on them. Kirby still sucks up most of his foes and can puke them back out of other enemies or digest them all together and copy their abilities. Just completely claim their soul. Kirby can slide attack and puff up and fly away at a moment's notice, lowering the difficulty curve for novice players. Some people don't want a lot of challenge during their soul claiming, but don't write this off as an easy game just yet. The difficulty certainly ramps up later on in the game, so much that this game introduced the ability to forfeit your power-up to spawn a helper that looks like the enemy you just devoured. This helper can either be controlled by the computer or a second player. The casual co-op element of the helper makes for a much more compelling and engaging teamwork experience than standard co-op games on the Super Nintendo. Maybe it feels that way because of the teamwork of the wheelie rider. Or maybe it's all that kissing.
Oh, this is the night. It's a beautiful night.
Yeah, anytime Kirby or the helper pick up a health item, they have about a 2-second window to spread some of that health love to one another by engaging in that primordial expression of affection. After all, kissing is what made Frodo and Sam such steadfast partners. Sometimes it's nice to make them kiss, even if you both have full health. It lets your partner know, hey man, I'm still here, I'm invested in this adventure with you. We're going to the end together. The basic foundation of gameplay gets a little mixed up in the different games. Spring Breeze is your vanilla Kirby, with the exception of being able to consume enemies and use their abilities. Dynablade features an overworld map similar to that of a Mario title, or really any platformer with an overworld hub. There's also 2 hidden levels that act as hubs to get any power-up for any level. Revenge of Meta Knight sees a countdown timer adding tension and urgency to the formula. You'll notice too that while the game advertises 8 games in one, they're not all available at the very beginning of the game. Completing a game will grant you 1 star, and sometimes will unlock another game mode. Moving on, Milky Way Wishes mixes things up quite a bit, where Kirby doesn't acquire the abilities via ingestion anymore. He must collect deluxe copy ability pedestals to gain powers that he can then access at any time. Milky Way Wishes also contains a couple of scroller shooter sections, which make for a welcome change of pace towards the final stretch of the game. Another refreshing diversion are the 2 smallest sub-games. Samurai Kirby sees Kirby dueling against a computer or second player in a reflex contest to see who can push a button the fastest after an arbitrary signal. Megaton Punch finds Kirby facing off in a strength competition to split a block in half by timing button presses to 3 different QuickTime events. Time them just right, and Kirby will send a crack all the way through the Popstar planet. And hey, Mario and the gang showed up here to watch us destroy our own home planet. Thanks, guys. You're so supportive. In my eyes, the best thing about Superstar is all of the various power-ups that have now become a common staple of the Kirby franchise. There's a ton, and I won't go over every single one, but some of my favorites include the yo-yo, which is a nod to Earthbound, the hammer, the tire, and the sword. There's so many power-ups to choose from, you'll find yourself enjoying all of them in their own special ways. Now you can play most of these games out of order, but depending on what's unlocked, you'll end up playing Milky Way Wishes as your last game. So we'll be focusing on that as our final level of that campaign. After collecting all the stars, the Comet Nova appears to grant Kirby's wish. But before Kirby can, Marx bumps him out of the way and reveals the evil plan he had all along, by wishing to control Popstar. We're getting all Shyamalan twisty up in here. Nova leaves to grant Marx's wish, so Kirby takes to his star vehicle to destroy Nova from the inside, Death Star 2 style. Just destroy all the turrets on each column to put Nova out of commission. Now all that's left is to face Marx. Marx doesn't have any particular gimmick to his fight, so just avoid all of his attacks and hit him when you can. Upon defeating him, Marx crashes into Nova, blowing him up as Kirby returns to get a medal from Princess Leia. No, he just goes to sleep.
It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets trying to consume.
Believe it or not, there is a completion bonus for this game. Beating and completing all the games will then lead you to one final game called The Arena. Some of these games do have a percentage completion, such as Milky Way Wishes, which will require you to collect all of the ability pedestals, or the Great Cave Offensive, collecting all the treasures. The Arena is where the game difficulty jumps up considerably. The Arena mode pits Kirby on a marathon of 19 boss fights with only 1 life and a few health resources to keep you going. Playing this solo-wise is very difficult and frustrating, but with a good friend and a few kisses, you can overcome anything. Once you finally overcome what seems to be an impossible feat, you are then rewarded with a sound test. Kind of anticlimactic if you ask me, but hey, if you go back to the main menu and check your file, you see that you've actually completed the game. A job well done. I really hate when sound tests are the rewards. It just doesn't seem right to me. Given the scope of Superstar, this game has a lot to do, so I highly recommend playing it with a friend. It's a lot of fun spending an afternoon and completing as much as you can. The game, completionist-wise, will probably last you about 6 to 10 hours roughly. Now, Kirby games aren't known for their difficulty, but collecting all 60 treasures in the Great Cave Offensive was time-consuming, and sometimes dying meant having to backtrack to get a certain power-up to reopen a pathway. The real difficulty didn't come into play until the Arena, where you had to spread out 5 maximum tomatoes over 19 bosses. At least it was, before discovering the near unstoppable team of the Wheelie Rider power-up. Seriously, Wheelie Rider combo will wreck everyone and everything that stands in your way. So, at the end of the day, Kirby Superstar was a pleasure. Is it hard? At times, but it reminds me that Sakurai and his team understand the ideals behind a good local co-op game, let alone what it means to make a really fun Kirby game. These games aren't easy by accident. Remember that. Sakurai's just smart and values fun over everything. And that's cool. Really cool. Kirby Superstar is one of the more delightful Super Nintendo games I have played in a long while. While most people these days will only recognize it as one of the biggest influences for the much more popular Super Smash Bros. Series, the game still holds up on its own to this day. You can pick this up on the Wii U eShop, and if you want something more portable, they re-released this game on the DS with updated graphics and even more gameplay modes. Now, as far as a completionist run is concerned, the end result unfortunately isn't worth it in my opinion, although the last mode is very fun to play with a good friend. With that in mind, guys, this game gets my completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it. Are you gonna finish it?
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out last week's video right here on Resident Evil 2. And while you're at it, be sure to check out our video on Mother 3. And if you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe. That's all the time we've got for today, guys. So please, as always, let us know what you think about today's episode somewhere on the internet. And hey, if you like what you saw, please support the show. It helps out a ton. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go find some more of that treasure.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back that way. It's alright. I'll probably only be gone for 60 seconds. Oh, geez, that guy got me real good. I feel like my skull's on fire, but I'm okay. Oh man, that yo-yo guy. Looks like he could eat a peach for hours. I don't know why I couldn't just put the bunny back in the box. Gotta give it to my dearest Casey. She's gonna love it. If I don't have that though, those hammer bros are gonna take my face off. Gee, and the fire guy over here's killing me's not gonna bring back your goddamn honey. You know what? I'm just gonna steal it. I'm gonna steal Declaration of Independence.